What's going on, guys? Thank you for joining me on another video. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Today we're going to be doing what I hope to be short video DIY project on how to restore your wheels. Like myself, many people out there have some like curb rash or damages to their wheels they're running right now, and maybe they love the wheels they have, or they're saving up to buy a different set of wheels, but at the moment this is what they have. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways on how to kind of DIY restore your wheels and paint them, so then you can run something clean in the meanwhile. Okay, so like I said, we're going to be painting the wheels after slightly restoring them. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we got behind me. So these are my 5 Ziegen wheels. These are discontinued, got them many years ago, but I love the design. I love how they look. They're 5-spoke. I love 5-spoke. They feel really aggressive to me, but if you take a look at them, they have a lot of wear and tear on them, all this grime. They just look really bad, really bad. Like oxidation, like all this stuck on dust. Like cleaning, it's not good enough. Honestly, this wheel is not even the worst of the 4 that I had, but this is the one I have left because I've already done the others. So we're gonna be, I'm gonna be showing you guys how to go from this to this. Obviously this works for any color out there that you're wanting to use, but this is the color I went with. It's like a metallic bronze, and I think it came out really good, like really good. In the camera it doesn't look as amazing, but in person it's like a really deep color. It shines really good. I'm trying to get it in different angles, but this is the finished product. That's what we're working with. Alright. And then the other 2 I got on the car already. So this is the wheel back on the car. It's all done up. I finished this one earlier just to make sure I could do everything properly before I started like making a video on how to do something when I didn't know how to do something. So I had to do it for myself, get it done, make sure I was doing it right, and now you guys can see the product. Got this side done and the other side done. Okay, let's go over some of the products you're going to be needing, right? So I got brake clean here. Any brake clean will work. This is just for after you wash the wheels. Now you can be using soap and water, just kind of wash the wheel down, and then you'll be using a brake clean. Degreaser of some sort also works, just to really clean up the wheel, get all that off. Right over here we have different variations of sandpaper. I'm using like 150, 320, and a couple of others in between. The ones that are really important, I would say, is the 150 to get the deeper scratches out, and then the 320 just to kind of clean it up. But I have a large range here, and it's up to you what you're trying to use. But if you only had these 2 different grits, that'll work. Also, right here, this is not needed, but it helps greatly. A Dremel of some sort. Now, I did the first 2 wheels by hand with just the sandpaper, and it took a long time, but it worked. So if you're just trying to go the sandpaper route, it's going to work just fine. It's going to work just the same. It wasn't until I started working on the 3rd wheel, that one right there, that I realized that the Dremel that I had would work. So for the Dremel, there's these different attachments. These are sandpaper attachments, right? See if we can focus in. Can't focus in on Yeah, these are sandpaper attachments. And you can see how mine are really worn. It's got like some primer on it and whatnot. That's because I had to redo one of them. I had messed up. But yeah, I was using these sandpaper wheels on my handheld Dremel, and it saved me at least an hour or so of just sanding. Because for me, the finish didn't need to be perfect for me, but I wanted it to look good to a certain point. So I was sanding and sanding and sanding and sanding for a really long time, until I was content with how it looked. So if you have a Dremel, awesome. It's going to help you out a lot. If you don't have a Dremel, don't be discouraged. You can still get it done without a Dremel. It's not a big deal. But once we get past that point, we sanded down the wheel. Everything looks good. Here's the other items you're going to be needing. I went with a Rust-Oleum primer, filler primer. Rust-Oleum primer, filler primer. This primer worked great for me. I had used a different primer on the first wheel and I hated it. So I had sanded all that down and then went out and I found this primer. And it worked great because of the filler properties. It kind of fills in the light scratches and grooves to a certain degree. It's not like a miracle cure or anything, but it helps out with the filler primer. And it laid on evenly. Spraying it down was real easy and it worked great. The second thing you're gonna need is a color. So I went with Duplicolor. This is the bronze. I forget the exact name they use. Let me see. Here we go, yeah. Come on, clear up. Yeah, HWP 105 bronze. So if you're wanting this exact color, that's it right there. Duplicolor bronze. I wanted a bronze wheel. Awesome. Obviously you could go with whatever color you want from Duplicolor, and you don't even have to use Duplicolor. You could use Rust-Oleum. I'm using Rust-Oleum products over here. So you can use a Rust-Oleum color if you want. Also, a little tidbit. Over here, we're gonna go to my little weird shelf thing I got going on. Do I have it here? I don't. I must have thrown it out. So here's another can. Before I started using the Duplicolor bronze, I was using a different bronze from Rust-Oleum, from the Rust-Oleum brand. I think it was like antique bronze or something like that. I used it, sprayed down the wheels, and the finish was good. I just didn't like the color. I didn't like how the color came out. So me being stubborn, I sanded it all down, went out, got me a different bronze to use, and that's when I decided to go with the Duplicolor bronze. Actually here it is. Look, I'm being silly. Here it is. This Rust-Oleum metallic bronze, bright metal finish. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Antique brass metallic. Just something about this color. It was too bright for mine, for what I was going for. I wanted like a darker bronze, and this was like a very like almost goldish bronze. I wish I would still have an image or something of how the color looked, but I wasn't really feeling it, at least for the look I was going for. So I sanded it down, started over. Oh, but there you go. Bam, bam. That's it with the colors. Let's go back. Okay, so after you finish with the Duplicolor bronze or whatever you're using, this is what I settled with for the clear. I used the Rust-Oleum 2X Ultra Cover Clear Gloss. Awesome. It's an awesome clear coat. I've read nothing but great things. I've seen nothing but great things with this one. It laid on real easy. It was really good. I recommend this one. can use whatever you want, but this is the one I personally went with. That's what I'm using. Shop towels, paper towels, you're gonna need those. Isopropyl alcohol, I'm using 91%. Doesn't really matter what percentage you use. I just use this as a cleaning base, wipe things down, you know, right before you get started kind of thing. And I'm sure there's some other products here and there that I'm missing. Nothing major though. This is all you really need. All right, degreaser, primer, color, clear coat, bam. Sanding paper, Dremel optional. You're gonna need shop towels. That's about it for what you need to buy. Relatively inexpensive products. This whole DIY setup is pretty cheap. Going on that car right there, obviously you're looking at it right now and you're like, blue car, bronze wheels, it doesn't fit, that looks weird, that's a weird setup. Well, the car's not staying blue, so I'm already planning ahead. I wanted the bronze wheels done for when the Z is going to be a different color, and then it'll make sense, it'll look good then. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get started. First step is going to be washing your wheels. So you're just going to be using soapy water and then washing it off, drying it, and then using the degreaser. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So we got the wheel cleaned, washed it down, degreaser, all that, cleaned it up as much as possible. As you'll figure out as you're doing your wheels, prep is key. So making sure you have a clean wheel to begin with before you start doing other things is going to make the difference. So we got our wheel clean. We're going to go over this specific wheel and what we need to do. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into that. Also, I know I'm kind of jumping around as I'm speaking. I don't script my videos. For those of you wondering, I feel like it makes it more of like a real video. I mean, if I just scripted everything I was gonna say, it would feel like a very monotone, kind of very fake video. So this is, you know, it's just a guy in his garage filming as he's going. All right, so just bear with me. If you feel like it's not your style, sorry to disappoint. But let's go ahead and look at this wheel. All right. So as you can see, this wheel honestly is not that bad. We got some like light scratches, no big grooves. Just kind of looking around. We got a little bit of curb rash right here. We'll take care of that with the sanding. So looking at my wheel, as you can see, it's honestly not in that bad of a condition. One of my other set of wheels, the ones that are already bronze, one of them had like big gouges in it, and that's the one that took me kind of like a really long time to sand down because the gouges and the curb rash were so deep that even though I was able to knock it down with the sandpaper, it took a lot of effort. This wheel, and it honestly is not that bad. It just has some light scratches on it, nothing that we're not going to do to it already. So on this wheel particularly, I'm going to do maybe like a 150 to like 180 grit sandpaper, just kind of get the clear coat finish off of it. The wheel has like a shiny clear coat finish on it, and it still has that from the manufacturer of this wheel. So I need to sand that down with like a 150, 180, just to give it something for the primer to adhere to. Because if I were to just wipe it down dry and start primering it now, the primer would not adhere to it very well. So I'm going to knock it down with some 150, 180, and then we'll move on to the next step. So I wanted to bring you guys in for a closer look. So as you can see right here, I have Honestly, not that bad. I've seen way worse. But I just kind of wanted to show you guys real quick. I do have curb rash on these wheels. So if you have curb rash, you just know that you can do something about it. So as I pointed out earlier, this is a 150. Yeah, using 150. And you just kind of want to lightly sand all around it. Not specifically targeting that area, but just kind of keep going over that area and kind of like broad, large strokes. And you just kind of keep doing that until you cut it down. This curb rash is very minimal. It's not deep. I could barely feel it with my finger. I could still see it with my eye slightly. I have not really gone over it yet. So I'm just going to keep going back and forth on this area, not specifically targeting that spot, because what you'll do is you'll kind of wear it down. Not so much with sandpaper, but if you were using the Dremel, you'll wear down that area really fast with the Dremel. So you definitely don't want to stick in one area with the Dremel if you're using that. For the sandpaper, you still don't want to target that specific area, but you want to kind of brush over it over and over and over until it starts disappearing, which it will, because it's done it on my other wheels. A lot harder to get like really into this curb rash on the edge of the lip because I have my tire on. If you don't have your tire on, this would go a lot easier. You could easily just, you know, curve your sandpaper around the edge and just bam, 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 and you'll get it cut down way faster. But I have my tire on. I didn't see a need to, you know, go get my tire dismounted and then remount it when I'm done. Blah 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 blah, all that. Plus, you finish your wheel, paint it, it looks great. You go get it mounted, and then they scratch the finish. You know, you're just kind of back to square one. But anyways, I'm gonna mount the camera back into the tripod. Just lightly sand the entire wheel. I'm gonna concentrate on this curb real fast. Get this clear coat. Like this is like, if you could feel this, this is very smooth. You could tell there's a clear coat on this, and the primer would not adhere to this very well at all. So I need to go over the entire wheel, at least with the 150, and then I'm gonna hit it with the 320 if nothing else looks crazy. Alright, we're back. So as you can see, it's already night out. I've been doing this for a couple hours, just kind of taking my time, as you should, you know, kind of prep is key kind of thing. So I just finished sanding it with the 150 all the way around. I'll show you a close-up of how your wheel should be looking around this point. I'm about to hit it again with the 320 all the way around. I already used my Dremel, kind of for the hard to reach areas. As you can see, the wheel, this wheel has like really intricate corners and grooves and stuff. They're really kind of hard to get in there with your hand and a piece of paper, sanding paper. So I was using my Dremel, because my Dremel has the small attachments and whatnot, so I could really get in there. But I'm gonna go ahead and focus the camera in on the wheels so you can see how they're looking. Alright, as you can see, the whole thing is looking like real ashy, kind of. Everything's scuffed, everything's nice and scratched up every bit. So these are the grooves and such that were hard to get into with the paper, but my Dremel made short work of that. I mean, if your wheels are a lot more flat and not as, you know, hitting grooves and stuff, then you'll have no problem with the sanding paper. But if you have a Dremel, you know, all the power to you. Go ahead and use it. If you don't have the certain attachments, it might be worth getting them from Amazon, just so you can get into those kind of hard to reach areas. But as you can see, everything's been sanded over, even in here, the cap, everything, right? It looks good. It looks good right there. Honestly, I could probably wash the wheel, dry it up, make sure it's clean with the isopropyl alcohol, and I could honestly probably primer it as it stands right now. But not saying that I'm a perfectionist or anything. I just want a decent product for my efforts, right? So for that, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up with the 320. I'm gonna hit it with some 320 that I got here. All right, what's going on, guys? It's the next day. So yesterday I finished all the sanding, and I kind of washed the wheel down before I went in for the night. And now here we're picking it up. Let's take a look at the wheel. The wheel is all sanded down. It looks good. Take a look at that. Curb rash is practically gone. Still got a little bit here, but I kind of smoothed it over. There was some here, but it's gone. Yeah, so she's prepped and ready to go. Now the next step right now is to clean the wheel, make sure she's cleaned really well. So we're going to be taking, let's take a look. Your isopropyl alcohol, put it on a rag or a paper towel or shop towels if you got them. And wipe the wheel down. You're going to keep doing this process until the paper towel comes back clean after wiping. No residue or anything like that, because you don't want none of that when you're trying to lay down the primer. Finished wiping down the wheels with the isopropyl alcohol. I don't know how well you can see it. Tilt the camera forward. Alright, so I masked off the whole wheel. Almost like how people do with the index cards. I just did it with painter's tape. Just kind of going all the way around the lip. Alright, here we are. Alright, so the supplies we got are here. So we got our Rust-Oleum filler primer. Alright. Optionally, I have the Rust-Oleum spray can handle. What this does is just it makes it a lot easier for you to handle the spray can. I mean, Rust-Oleum has a really good nozzle on it already, so I'm not too worried about it. But I've been using this kind of like spray can holder, and it makes kind of doing the passes a little bit easier. It's like $4 or something like that, so that's why I grabbed it. It works pretty good. I like it. I like it better than just using my hand. So there's that. Some sort of mask. You definitely want a mask because you know, the spray can aerosols and all that, it really irritates like your throat and your lungs, and if you don't use a mask, you're gonna be coughing for, you know, a while because you're inhaling all of that. So you want to slow that down. If you have a respirator, like an actual respirator, I would go ahead and use that. That's the best thing to do. But if you don't have that, then a mask of some sort. Working glasses, I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory. You don't want none of this stuff getting in your eyes or anything like that. Last, and what I believe is one of the most important things, is a tack cloth. Tack cloth. Now this one's used. I have new ones, but I feel like there's no need. These things last for a while. And if you don't know what a tack cloth is, it's like a piece of gauze with like kind of like a sticky resin on it, and its purpose is in between coats or finishes, whether you're working on a wood product or paint, you'll get like a light dusting on whatever it is you're working on, whether it's you know, hairs and dust from the air just kind of settle and land on whatever it is you're working on, your project, or whether you have dusting from like a primer filler. Like the primer filler, it hardens pretty fast, and because it's a filler primer, it clumps up really good because that's what it's supposed to do. But you might get some light dusting, and you'll see it. I'll show you if I get any of it. Hopefully not too much, but I'm sure I will get some, and I'll show you what I mean. It's gonna look like almost dust collecting on certain parts of the wheel, and I'll do a close-up in on that. And what I'll do is, after I do one pass of the primer, I'll let it settle about 10-15 minutes. I mean, It's a little hot outside. It's not, you know, super hot, but it is a little hot. So I will wait the full time. If it was scorching hot, you wouldn't have to wait as long. I'd do maybe 10 minutes to 15. And if you're doing this in cold temperatures, I'd give it 30 minutes or longer per coat. The reason why I say that is because it takes longer for the primer filler to harden. And what happens is if you do a layer and you don't let it fully cure or dry between the next layer, you'll have like caking and then it'll start breaking. You'll get like spider cracks all over the primer. And there's no fixing that. You got to sand the whole product back down. Ask me how I know. Because it happened on one of my other wheels. And I was like, I'm doing everything the same. Why am I getting spider cracks in my primer finish? Because the primer finish looked great. It had great coverage. The color consistency was good. And then all of a sudden, as it started drying, it started getting cracks and splintering all over. And I would apply a little bit more just to kind of fill that in. I was confused as to what was going on. And once it started drying, it would crack again. And what I had realized by like looking up information and such and reading the back of the bottle was it was cooler that day. It was like 20 degrees cooler that day because of all the raining outside. So I had less humidity and cooler temperature. So what happened was I didn't give it enough time to cure between that coat. So while I was applying the second coat on top of the not fully cured coat underneath, the coat underneath was drying and separating while the one on top was hardening. And that's how you get the spidering and the spider cracks and whatnot. I pray I don't get any spider cracks today. Very annoying setback. If you're watching this video and you have spider cracks right now, I'm sorry to say it, but you have to sand the whole thing, the whole wheel back down, back to the metal or aluminum, whatever you want to call it, back to the bare finish, because there's no fixing that. There's no, oh, I'm just going to sand down this piece of primer and do it again. No, there's no fixing that. You got to sand the whole thing back down. So if that happened to you, that sucks, and I feel your pain. Also, when you're going to use the primer filler, whether you're just using regular primer and whatnot, you want to shake the can vigorously for like 2-3 minutes. The longer the better. I mean, you really want to get it going. If it's a nice sunny day outside, I would leave the cans outside in the sun just so they get warmed up. I mean, you don't want them super hot where they're exploding or anything, but you want to get them warmed up, shake them up real good. Time it. You know, put a timer on your phone, 2-3 minutes. Don't just be in your head, oh, I shook it a lot, and then start going. What happens is if you don't shake it good enough, you'll get that spidering again. That's one of the other reasons. So there's 2 reasons why you get the spidering in the primer filler. 1, you didn't give it enough time to cure. 2, you didn't shake the can good enough. So don't do that. So right now I have the wheel taped up. It's cleaned. I wiped it down with the isopropyl alcohol, maybe like 10 sheets of shop towels, and it finally came back. My towels were clean after wiping through. So what I'm going to do now is put on my safety equipment, shake this can, and then I'm going to let the camera sit on the tripod while I do my first pass of the primer. Alright, so for the first coat, you want light coverage. You don't want to go in heavy at all. Sweeping motion, not targeting one specific area. Just kind of keep it moving. Light coverage. It may not look like you covered much at all. Don't worry about it. Put it down. Wait the 15-20 minutes, whatever you got to do, and then do your second coat. Alright guys, so I've done 3 coats of primer already. I don't know if you were able to see the footage of me using the tack cloth. I used the tack cloth between each coat after it dried. I waited about 20 minutes after the first coat, lightly glazed over the whole thing with the tack cloth. Did my second coat, waited 20 minutes again with the tack cloth, and then I did my third coat. So remember, the first coat, very light. You don't need full coverage, you just want to get it on there, if that makes sense, lightly, just so the next layer has something to adhere to. Second coat, kind of want full coverage. If you saw, I was spinning the wheel around on my little box here, just so I could get around all the spokes, just so I have full coverage, right? I don't want to just stay in the front, stay in the front, stay in the front, and then on the sides of my spokes it's bare, you know. Did that, and then the third coat, I did really heavy, really heavy. I'm using about, I have 1 can dedicated per wheel. 1 can for a wheel is overkill. Honestly, that 1 can could probably do 2 wheels, but I wanted full complete coverage with the primer. This is a sandable primer, so if you do have like bumps and nastiness in the finish, you could go ahead and lightly sand it down with like a 600 grit. But if you don't see anything looking too bad, then I wouldn't worry about it. Let's take a closer look at it. I mean, nothing too crazy. Kind of have some, if you could see that right there. You see kind of that debris and whatnot. That's the kind of stuff you could sand off with 600 grit. I typically don't want to sand, because sometimes you can sand off too much and then you gotta put some more back on. Plus, after doing 3 other wheels and this is the 4th one, I'm kind of over it. I just want to finish the project already and be done with it. You can see I went heavy just so I could get good coverage everywhere. I was missing a lot of spots, so I kept hitting it. If you get little looks like that corner right there, you see how it's kind of darker in that area? That means I was spraying and I was a little bit too far away, so I was trying to get closer and spray it closer without getting runs. You don't want to get runs. But for the most part, it looks pretty good. So I'm gonna let it finish curing, maybe like 20-30 minutes or so. I believe the can says an hour, and I know some people like to say an hour and a half. I don't feel like that's too necessary. I'm gonna do like 20 minutes or so, and then I'm gonna prep it for the color, the base coat. Alright, running out of sunlight. I'm taking too many breaks. This is going to be coat number 4, and more than likely my final coat. As you can see, the color is coming out really good. Hold up. Zoom in. Yeah, the color's coming out solid. It doesn't have. It has more like a matte finish right now because I don't have a clear coat on it, so it's just a matte bronze. And if this is what you're going for, I mean, it looks good, but I want that clear, so I'm gonna do this last coat, and then let that dry, and then start hitting it with the clear coat. All right, let's see where we're at. Honestly, not bad. I'm really digging the depth of the color. It's really looking good, honestly. I mean, if you take a really good look at it, bam, you'll see like those little like freckle looking things. Tons of imperfections here and there, but for a DIY project at home, I'm very happy with how it's coming out. All we have to do now is hit it with the clear coat. Maybe two, maybe three coats of clear coat, let them dry, and then let the whole thing cure anywhere 24 hours overnight, preferably 24 hours before you start manipulating the wheel, all that. All day today has been overcast, and yesterday was overcast, so I haven't been able to like show you how this color looks in the sun, but it actually looks really good in the sun. But yeah, under my garage light, you know, you could see that there's a shine to it. It's a deep bronze with a nice shine. And there's no clear coat yet. So once the clear gloss goes on there, it really makes it pop. And then obviously, if you're just watching this video for learning how to do your own wheels, it could be whatever color you want. Just know that it's a simple process. You know, prep is key. Being patient is key. Waiting between the coats is key. And yeah, it's not that bad of a DIY project. The whole thing costs you less than $100. All right, so we finished with the clear coat. Wheels done. Without my shadow getting in the way. See different shades. It still looks a little matte, but it's glossy to me, and it'll get a little bit glossier as it cures. The clear coat cures. I could already see a few spots in here where I need to do a little bit more clear coat, but I'm not too worried about it. I'll hit it after it fully cures. Add some more. But yeah, I think it came out really good. And for those of you who are not new to the channel, you guys know that the 90Z over here is the budget build. So obviously restoring old wheels that I already owned was the way to go. Alright, so we just finished with the wheel restoration, and appreciate you guys watching the video. If you like what you saw, give it a thumbs up. If it was helpful in any way, drop a comment below what helped you out. If you feel I'm doing something wrong, go ahead and tell me about it in the comments so I could learn. You know, I'm just another person trying to, you know, do their own thing, save some cash and whatnot. So if you liked the video or want to see more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification. I haven't been making a lot of videos lately, been really busy finishing up my degree, but good news is I finished my degree, graduated. I'm now looking for employment in that degree, so I got a little bit of free time, and once I start working in my field, I'll have a lot more free time, because it's like a shift work, 12-hour shifts preferably. So anyways, I haven't been making a lot of videos because I was busy with school. Finished school now, so back on the grind. When I first started this channel, I had just started school, you know, and I was able to graduate. So it's a big milestone for me. I'm glad you guys have stuck it through, the ones that have been following me from the beginning, from the rip. I'm just going to be making more videos again. When I get my Z back, I have this other NAZ build going on. I'm thinking about doing some motorcycle content. I have my motorcycle right there. Bam, might be doing some motorcycle vlogs. That'd be dope. and just DIY stuff. I mean, I've done like 1 or 2 DIY things before. I kind of liked it. They were well received. A lot of people were like happy with the video, thanking me that it helped them and whatnot. So I kind of like doing the DIY videos and whatnot, and so I might continue to do that along with the vlogs for the 2Zs, and now with the motorcycle added to the channel. So if you liked what you saw, give it a thumbs up. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know how you think. Let me know what you think about the wheels. Let me know what you think about the wheels. If you're watching this so you could do your own set of wheels, let me know how your wheels turned out. Did they turn out how you wanted? What color did you use? You know, things of that nature. Let me know. Also, if you want, follow me on Instagram. It's DarkAlexZX, no spaces, and that's where I get the most up-to-date. That's where you could get the most up-to-date content on what's going on. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.